Something shady is happening in Ashland. Anyways, today we've got 3 projects to complete, 2 of them being absolutely critical. Once those are done, we're going to continue expanding our downtown. Let's jump straight in. Welcome back to Ashland, and I think the first thing we should solve right away is some of this potential garbage issues happening. So we have garbage piling up over here in our police station, we have it piling up in our farms, we have it piling up over here in some of our parks, and it's nothing too crazy, but it is enough to raise concern, right? Because these are all impacting the efficiency of our services. And speaking of services, I don't know why this isn't activated. I should have turned this back on. Wait, isn't this only supposed to support lumber? Why does it have everything else? Medium train lumber yard diesel. So maybe this is broken and I just haven't realized it. Quick changes that you might have noticed. There's some farm services on here, and I'm testing this out. I tried to add this in a long time ago, but actually it was so long ago, it was over here, back in these farms. I started crashing when I would add them in, and after adding them in, I started to crash again, so I'm hoping that goes away. Anyways, I think we should add an incineration plant. We still have the money. If we're not careful, it will destroy us, so we'll need to add a bunch of density to our downtown. I think for the most part, we can probably just add it right about here. So let's grab our incinerator, and I guess we actually need to unlock it first. So in our garbage management, we'll unlock the incinerator plant. It's 2 development points. We have 97. We're perfectly fine. We could also get a bit crazy and add in the industrial waste processing. I don't think we have money for that though. I think we're far too early for that. Even the incineration plant, given our population, probably isn't the most realistic, but it does come with so many vehicles that it's going to solve our issues probably really well. Okay, now location-wise, we have a few options. We could place it inside here, kind of in this footprint, or we could place it on the outside. I don't know, I'm not really biased to either of them. I think I'll probably place it on the inside though. I want to make sure we're giving enough room for a geothermal power plant. That way we're not putting them too close together. Maybe somewhere like right here. We'll need to straighten this road out, so let's get that started first. We need a good place to put our incinerator. I don't think right here is a good place just because we have this bend, unless we placed it right about here, which I definitely think could work. I love saying things and then contradicting myself apparently. So we'd probably need to go kind of somewhere like right here, and then we could have one road come in from here and another one come out from here. And the only thing is I hate the smokestacks on this building. I can't stand them. So I want to bury it if I can, but quick check first. Let's see where the wind is blowing, and it's blowing that way, so that's great. That's exactly what we want to see. So with that in mind, we're pretty much free to place this anywhere over here, with the idea that this just wouldn't be, I guess, developed very heavily due to the pollution. So now with all of this in mind, I'm going to quickly remove all the trees and then flatten everything out as well. And I tried to give as much soil as I took, so this was a pretty big spot to clear out, and I tried to add that all up here if I could, and it seems like I didn't give enough room to actually place this orientating this road, which I think is fine. It can probably get placed kind of close to this side of the edge, somewhere like right here. Then we can just grab a road and run it in front of it and connect it up into these 2 points. I think I'm going to start right here, and I'll curve into the building, and then for over here, I'd want it to be somewhere that's not too steep, because garbage trucks will be coming out of here and they'll have to kind of work from this. And there we go. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, now all we have left to do is connect a electric cable and our power line. So let's grab, and it seems like we have 2 connections we can make here. I think we'll just start with that one for now. All that's left is to connect right into our power line. So we'll go straight a bit, and then just connect right into here. And then this should be fully functioning and working. We're going to be losing a bit of money from this, so we're going to need to cover this with today's expansion. But for parking, I don't know how many employees work here. About 60 employees, and I was counting them until I realized that it tells you how many parking spaces there are. So apparently there's 58. And does that include the trucks parking? I think it includes the trucks parking because there's definitely not 58 parking spaces. Either way, let's get something kind of small added here. We'll take up probably this space from here. Okay, and then for some light detailing, I'm just going to add in some decals to kind of rough this place up just a bit. I'll do the roof and the ground surfaces. All right, and that's going to do it for detailing. Now, I want to know how much this is going to cost us once we have employees, so let's let this building get a few employees in. And of course, we have an issue that we didn't even realize. There's not enough water, and there's a backed up sewer. It should be connected already. Maybe it's just because these two aren't connected. And does that do the trick? Yes, it does. Okay. And so let's see how much this is costing us total. $221,000 per month. And that's putting us at a crazy negative $35,000. It seems like we're already going down to negative $7,000. Oh, now we're positive. Okay, so I wonder if that's due to electricity trade. It might be. The building is producing a solid 5.56 megawatts. Not bad, I guess. But either way, let's go back down into our new downtown. And I want to get zoning some more of this out. I think the most important part is probably to get started on the front part. Everything that's fronting the water, because those would probably be really valuable pieces of land. And I would love to see a heavy mix of medium density commercial and medium density office. And before we do any zoning, let's actually upgrade this road right here while we still have the ability to. So let's just take this all the way down, send it right about here. And this gives us a nice long kind of avenue or boulevard road. And we can't just leave it like this because there is a lot of traffic lights happening here. So let's just go and get rid of, honestly, all of them until we have a problem. And we'll also get rid of these crosswalks here that come from the parking lot. Otherwise, it looks a bit ridiculous. There we go. Now we have two high capacity roads that will help deliver traffic. Now I wish we had more assets kind of like this right here. This is a really nice size. It's not too big. It's not too small. And it just feels like it could fit into this entire area. And I think it'd probably fit in more alongside here. So let's place this one right here. And this one right here, I would love more assets like this. This is such a nice asset. It fits in so well. And I think this one will probably go right about here. And then I'm just going to try and find a bunch of assets, kind of like this one right here, which kind of feel like they can fit. I want to see it all together, so I'm going to pause. That way companies don't fill in. But kind of things like this, you know, things that don't feel too overwhelming. And being honest, I think I'm going to struggle to find what I'm actually looking for because there just isn't that many low assets. But if I go any bigger than even this one right here, it feels like it's overpowering everything else. So from here, I'm probably just going to zone in some, let's go northeast low density business. And then maybe we can go with some southwest low density offices behind this. And we'll vary it up a bit. So we'll allow these ones right here to be 4 depth, and we'll keep these ones to be 2. And then we'll add a bit of randomness to it. So kind of just break it apart as much as possible. And actually, I think a parking lot right through here would make sense. This would have to be a one-way parking lot because nothing else is going to fit, but I'm happy to do it. This setup just isn't ideal. Honestly, the opposite would make more sense than how it's set up right now, because I don't want traffic having to come into this road just to go to the parking lot, and I don't want traffic coming from the parking lot onto this road. So let's try this again. While that's filling in, I'd like to think about down here, so the next step. And again, I think it's just probably going to be some row homes, because I don't want to get too dense just yet. Of course, this is America, so let's add another parking lot. We already have this one-way parking lot coming into this road, so I don't want to send another one, but I also don't like the idea of this being used as kind of like a cut-through, but we're going to add it in anyways. And then back here, I'm just going to add 2 of the same pocket parks. And I think as long as I place it something like this, it should work. Yeah, and I'm not seeing any complaints from the parks yet, so I think that worked out pretty well. What is this little... Oh, it's a little mailbox. We'll move the mailbox over here. And then we have this lot right beside our police station, and I'm tempted to place some commercial here. I'm noticing that it has these connections back here, so if you turn on hide show markers, you can actually see whether it wants to connect or if it can connect, if it's pre-built into the asset, and this one is. So if we add in a alleyway back here, I believe they should be able to travel down this road. In terms of security, I'm not sure how much that makes sense, but it should be fine, I guess. So I think I'm going to do some commercial here. Let's go 4 deep. And of course, it doesn't zone on the boulevard. So let's delete that and then try and add this back in. This time we'll get rid of the zoning on both sides. And there we go. Now that gives us something a bit more appropriate. And actually, I think right here, we can probably add in these low rent buildings from the China pack. I think they're pretty versatile and work really well in like almost a bunch of different scenarios, and they're not too big. That's really what I like about them. They're not too big. But in order to make this look nice, I always like to tilt these, and it honestly kind of feels bad adding low rent right beside the police station. I promise you I didn't plan that. I'm going to start by breaking this up. So I'm going to send an alleyway right down here, and then I'm going to create a little lot for this area. So we'll try and get 3 in on angle if we can. Let's see. 1, 2. Ooh, just barely 3. It's a bit too tight for my liking. Maybe with a little bit of love and care, this could come out a bit nicer. Let's see. Yeah, I think 3 might just be too much. So let's just try 2. And I think that should work. And I'm thinking about it, this building would probably have a bit more priority for parking. So let's add this in first. It's a bit silly looking, but you know what? I'll be fine with it for once. And I think I'll say, I'm sorry, it sucks to suck, no parking for you. And then from here, I'm thinking just a bit more commercial along our boulevard. No. Why? Alright, and I'm back, and everything seems to be fine so far. I did disable the farming services. Anyways, I'm just going to fill in the rest of these areas, kind of doing the same thing I did over here. There's not going to be too much differences compared to it. All I've done is go and lock these buildings so they wouldn't level up, because I kind of like them to stay where they are now. And other than that, yeah, I'm going to get started. I'm going to zone in these areas right here. Okay, and surprise, surprise, I ended up pretty much plopping most of this myself. Some of it's filled in, kind of like these ones right here. It just came out very repetitive, and I don't know, it didn't really have a very... It didn't feel real to me. So I just replaced some of them. I need to do this before I forget, so I'm going to actually remove some of the trees along these roads. It is just a bit much, and it almost feels too symmetrical. There would be 2 solutions to this. So solution 1 would just be grabbing the circle radius tool in the tree tool itself, setting the age to all of them, and just letting them randomize. But it still feels more or less the same. But I'm just going to get rid of these, honestly, a few of them. So we're going to only have the trees in the middle, and really making the big executive decisions here. Or actually, let's swap it up. I think for this road, we'll only have the trees on the outside. And then for this one right here, we'll only have the trees in the middle. And that should be a pretty big improvement. Otherwise, it just kind of feels like there's too much going on the road. And I think that does look really nice. All we're missing is a bit of variation in the tree age. And there we go. I think that's a pretty big improvement. Okay, and most of this is filled out, and I'm fine with it for the most part. I think there's only so far we can go, and within the boundaries of not trying to get crazy about this, I think I'll leave it there for now. I'm going to get a few more higher density buildings in here, kind of near our schools. Again, we'll probably do something kind of like this, or even smaller if we can get it. These ones right here I really like. I think we'll place some of these commercial buildings alongside this road right here. And I wish we could fit one more. Is there anything that would look decent in there? I'd almost rather see this in the middle and then drag this out over here and kind of see something like that instead. The only thing I'm worried about is using that asset too much. It's kind of everywhere, but you know what? I'm gonna try and not worry about it. This gives us an opportunity to put some parking back here or whatever else. I want to change things up a bit here. So maybe let's go with some more residential. Let's try and find something that's low rent. And I kind of like something like this right here. I think this should do the trick pretty well. And then on this side, we don't want to go any higher. We actually want to go just a tiny bit lower. And I don't know if we're going to find that, but we can sure try. Actually, let's go row homes. It's a classic, it's trusty, and I know we can get something really nice with it. But come to think of it, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I need to add some sort of parking here. And then we'll place some row homes along here. Pretty much the last area I want to focus on for the actual zoning bit of this episode is this area right here. It's really the main part we have left because everything else kind of makes sense so far, and this will be different stuff. So let's hone in on this area, and again, it's gonna be pretty much the same as what we did over here. So I'm gonna speed this up. Okay, and I've created this kind of office park. It looks a bit bad, but I'm just trying to add more employees or work opportunities into this area without having to spam more high density offices or even medium density. And I was just trying to vary it up just a bit so it didn't feel all the same. I don't know how well it came out. We'll see, maybe post detailing. Maybe I'll change it up before then, but I think for the most part, this should do the trick. Along here, again, mostly the same, lots of row homes. Down here, I added this kind of low density office building, and I think it actually fits in pretty nicely with everything else. And I needed to add more high density commercial because we kind of just need the jobs. Doesn't seem like they're providing all that many though. This one's 11, this one's 13. So maybe I'll keep an eye on that and try and make sure that our commercial demand isn't absolutely getting destroyed. And I'm gonna have a hard time looking at this, so in the meantime, I'm gonna add a path through here and some trees. And if I decide to call this later, it's fine, but I just need to be able to look at it, and so I think I can look at that. That's okay with me. We're gonna have our bus station probably still here. There would probably be somewhat of an increase in density around this area because of the bus station, so I could definitely justify a bit more density, maybe along here, here, and here. I do think it is time we get our bus station in. So we'll delete that district. And for our bus station, again, our options are kind of limited as always. So we have our local bus station. I'm wondering, have we placed that bus station already? And honestly, I don't even know where our bus station is. Instead of looking for it, I'm just gonna do this. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, I'm not sure how I could forget that. Yeah, so we already added this one in, and I don't want to repeat the asset over and over and over again. And I can't believe that. I got so confused for a second. I was wondering why there was a ploppable service block here, but it's just a sign of the bus station. I was trying to click on it and I couldn't. Okay, so anyways, we already have this bus station being used, so I do want to swap it up over here, and we'll just go with, let's say, our small bus station. We want to keep it off of Seabreeze Street and probably direct it towards Chestnut and Ganger Street instead. I think I'll actually place it on Chestnut Street. To take this even a step further is first, let's grade this out. And then let's grab an alleyway. Or actually a one-way road might even work better. Let's grab a 2-lane one-way road. And then let's just go up about, I don't know, 5 units. And then let's go over, let's say 8, because it gives us a nice little middle. And then we'll go down again 5. I'm worried this might not look the way I want it to, but honestly, who cares? Let's just do it. And now with a few atrocities committed, and I'm going to ignore them. Or actually, you know what? That gives me a cool idea. Instead of just trying to ignore them, let's pull this in like this. And then we'll grab an alleyway, I think. Yeah, an alleyway. No, wait. What about a pedestrian path? Or what about a narrow quay? Let's turn all of our snapping on, except for shoreline. And right here, I want to come to right about there. Or I kind of want this to be closer. I'd say kind of right here in this tile. And then do something like that. And then let's upgrade this to an actual quay. Right, I remember why I don't do this anymore. Because it looks so nice. It looks so nice. I wish we could use these as just kind of normal paths. Or normal quay walls, but we can't. Unless, what if I only upgrade one side? I guess it still wants to dig down to the ground, doesn't it? Even if I push this back, I could pull it out. It seems to be doing a lot of work just to get this to work. And I don't think it's going to come out the way I want it to, which is sad. I'm just going to upgrade this back down to a normal pedestrian street. I could see this kind of going along and connecting back into here. I'm interested to know how it'll look. Let's see. Either it'll look amazing or awful. So I'm going to grab right here, and then I'm just going to curve along this contour line. Actually, I'll need to come back just a bit more. There we go. Now I should be able to grab and just curve in. There we go. I kind of like that. It's a nice little addition and kind of takes something that was going to be bland and boring and just amps it up a bit. Plus, there could be something pretty cool here. I don't know what that is, though, so if you know, please let me know. I'm not creative enough. Okay, now with our bus station, let's take a look at our upgrades really quickly. We have our kiosk, which just improves the comfort, which I believe improves the ridership. And then we have our extra platforms. I don't know if we'll need them yet, so let's just go with the station kiosk. Honestly, I'd rather them kind of face this road instead. I almost kind of like the look of that. Yeah, I think I like the look of that. So we'll have 2 of them right there. And then you have this direct pathway across. Let's formalize this though and get an actual crosswalk in here. It doesn't seem like I can add one right there, so these 2 will do for now. And now we need to check on our bus capacity because I'm not sure if we even have enough. And yeah, we're using 33 out of 35, so we could probably use just a bit more capacity. And I think we'll bump this up just a bit more. It is a bit of a long trip for it to take in order to get into Birch. Maybe we build one out in our industrial park instead. I think it could make a lot of sense, and I'm definitely all for making a lot of sense. So yeah, let's add another bus depot in right here. And I'm thinking just placing it right here is going to work really well. And then this already gives us an extra 25 vehicles, so we don't got to worry about this, and we're good to go back over to Birch. And then we need to set up some routes. I am no expert in buses whatsoever. I just try and think about what makes the most sense. So if anyone has any clue about buses, I'm always open for help. Now with that in mind, I can kind of say what makes sense to me. I would think linking the 2 bus stations up would be pretty key. Having that kind of transportation between cities or districts, I guess. I can see one looping, so there's nothing up here, but in the future there will be. So I could see one going around this road, coming around this little bendy part, and you'd have stops right here at the pool, the parks, and you come down. You'd also have the post office. It would take you through pretty much our densest area, and then just loop back around. Or it would come down, come through here, and then it'd probably take a right up here, go back to our bus station, and then continue on. So I'm going to draw that in. Oh, and this isn't a road, is it? No, it's not. It's a pathway. Well played. Congratulations, I played myself. Okay, so then I guess we'd have to turn the left into this road right here. or right and go along here. I'm almost more inclined to turn right rather than left, but I think the left would be more important, so I'm gonna add in the left anyways. And then we'd go up here, complete our route, and then maybe we'd have another one. It would do kind of a similar movement, but in this area. So let's say it starts at the bus station, and then it's gonna come down into this road. It'll come along the side of here, turn into here, or I guess this is kind of backwards, because then we're dropping people off on the opposite side of the road and there's nothing there right now. Okay, so it would start from the bus station, then it would come over here, and there's two options from here. It can either go along this road and come down, or it could go in front of the school and then come down. I'm more partial or biased to it coming along this road instead, then coming down here, and then having stops along this road. And then essentially it's just going to make its way around the loop, and then it feeds back into here. And I feel like with the way I've set this up, I haven't done the greatest job. So we'll complete that route. And for my sanity, I'm going to start naming these. Okay, so I'm going to call this one Fountain. Placeholder names until we decide on the name for this district. I'll probably just run a poll on YouTube to see what the name is. There was a few good choices. I liked a lot of them. And then for bus line 7, that's the one up here. And we definitely don't want a luxury bus. We'll take the CO bus because why not? We'll send this down to 2 vehicles, and I don't really know what to call this one. I guess connector for now. Last but not least, I just want one that connects into the bus station. This area doesn't get buses for now. That'll be a whole another episode dedicated to transit, because I'm going to be making a lot of messes, and a lot of our buses are outdated anyways. So I need to have an episode just dedicated to this. This will temporarily be called Ashland Heights to Birch. We'll drop that down to 3 vehicles. I don't know what the demand is for it yet. And I think that's going to do the trick for now, just given where we are. Okay, and while the bus is doing its thing, I want to do something here. And it just seems like there's a really cool opportunity to do something. I'm just not sure what yet. So I'm going to kind of work through this in my head. So first, I'm going to clear all of this. I really, really like the idea of having that key wall show. And then I think the obvious choice is to... It will work. It's not going into the ground for some reason. Neither is that one. Did I miss something important? Oh, is it just because they're really small segments? Here's another idea. Oh my... I can't believe I didn't think of this. Delete the pillars. Because it's not the asset itself that's doing the terrain conforming, it's the pillars. How did I not catch that? Well, that is really, really, really cool. And now that I know that, I think there's a lot of cool things we can do. I had so many ideas on how to use those before, and I never did because it couldn't work. Kind of makes me feel like I'm playing City Skylines 1. I don't really like it though. I think it's definitely a bit rough looking. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. Honestly, still really cool though, and I can't wait till I can use them for something that I actually really want to use them for. I think in the meantime, to make this not so complex, I'm probably just gonna do a spiral down here. It's a bit crazier looking than I would have liked, but it should do the trick for the most part. So I'll leave it like that. Okay, and then I'd like to see a small pocket of density here, specifically medium density. This will be as high as it gets. We're not going to place any more of these, otherwise they'll overwhelm everything. And I'm thinking maybe this Chinese high office could fit that bill. And I like the idea of having it right across from the bus station. Maybe even something kind of like this, because I don't want to overwhelm the area. I think that still looks somewhat reasonable. Somewhat. I wouldn't say it looks perfectly reasonable, but somewhat reasonable. Now we have this building. We unlocked it a while back. Oh yeah, we could place buildings along here too. I think that's honestly a pretty cool idea as well. Maybe we place something kind of like this local office building along with this one. And then right here, right in the middle of this little circle, we're gonna have this building right here. I was only joking, but honestly, if it was a bit bigger, Wouldn't be all that bad. The circle's not a bit bigger and I'm not remaking the circle. And I guess I'm remaking the circle. I always kind of like to go a bit further back just to get a feel for it. Almost feels like there'd be some type of school here. And maybe that's just because I'm used to this being the college building. These two are going to be here. Then this one needs to go. And this one or this one needs to be moved. Otherwise it feels a bit overwhelming. Now this area, of course, is missing something. I'm in a battle between not wanting it too high so that this building still has a pretty cool view, but also not wanting it too low because it'd look a bit odd, and also not wanting just to spam row homes everywhere. World's best City Skylines 2 player here, right here. Okay, I think I've decided on this. Gives enough variation. It maintains the density that we kind of said we would have, and provides enough housing, some commercial, a little bit of mixed use too. I'm scared to use these though, because I feel like the one time I used them over there, it really hurt us. So either way, I'm gonna let this play for a second, just let everything fill in, get a feel for the area. And before I continue, and I keep doing this, I forgot to place bus stops. So the buses have just been driving around doing absolutely nothing. So let's actually get these added in. So we're right here by our bus station. I guess we could have a stop right here. It's kind of close, but let's add it in anyways. And no, I think we'll do that one down here a bit. I don't want this extra lane, this entire road. It just doesn't make sense. So what I will do, my explanation of this was so poor, I decided to re-record over it after the fact. I'm really setting the bar for YouTube. Anyways, you used to be able to just double click to add a node. Now you can't really do that. So you can either draw a road perpendicular in order to add a node, but I find that doesn't work for me as much as I'd like. So I use somewhat of a workaround. I draw a road perpendicular from where I want the extra bus lane to end. Then I add trees or grass to the road. Then I upgrade the remaining segment that doesn't have the bus stop on it. Sometimes this won't work either for whatever reason, or maybe you don't want grass or trees. You can still do the exact same thing, but this time duplicate the road in Road Builder, then instead of upgrading the remaining segment with grass or trees, upgrade it with a duplicated road. And I really don't want to, but I probably should just add stops here anyways, just in case for the future. So this will come along, we'll say 1 block, 2 block, maybe one right here. Again, if I can shorten this up just a little bit, I will. And then we'll have another one right here. And then we'll also have another one right here. Another one right here. Then we'll have another one right here. And then I think we can have one here and one down here. Then we'll have another one right here on this corner. And then we'll have one right in front of all these buildings, but is this a garage? Okay, no, so that's not a garage. Only reason I was worrying is just because we wouldn't want to block access. So then it comes from here down to here. We'll want one in front of the school. All right, and then this comes from the school to back to our bus station. So maybe we have one more stop. I mean, there's this park right here, and there's also this little apartment building complex. I think I'll just go with this one right here. Okay, and I think for the most part, all of that makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense to have all these empty stops that aren't actually doing anything, but if I don't do it now, I will forget later when this area is zoned out. Okay, and then we have the green route, or the red route, which is Fountain, and that comes into here and starts over here. So I think we'll have a stop right here. It is really close to our bus station, but I'm gonna add it in anyways. I'll place that right in the middle of this. Then we'll have another one right here, somewhere like right about there. And then another one right here. And maybe that'll give a chance to transfer. All right, and this is going to come down here, and we'll have a stop right here at this path. And then I think we'll have another stop at this path as well. We'll have one right in front of our park, and then one right in front of these shops, and then another one in front of these shops as well. And then we'll have another bus stop right about here as well, and one last one right here. Okay, and that looks pretty good to me. I'm pretty sure that makes a lot of sense, but I don't know. I guess really the only one we'd be missing is one that goes down Arborview Street and does some sort of loop. This is a pretty important road in terms of access, so maybe one that, I don't know, loops from, let's say here, comes down and kind of serves just this core and loops back around. I don't know about that though, so all right, now I want to see what our ridership is going to be, then that we actually have stops at some of our routes. And surprise, surprise, Ashland Heights to Birch seeing the most activity. I don't expect the other routes to have, any more activity until this area is filled in a bit more. With that said, I'm stuck trying to find a balance. If this was 2 months ago, I would have probably tried to zone everything out in one episode, make lots of cuts, speed things up like crazy, because I want it to be digestible. But when I do that, it takes significantly longer to make these episodes, and I know I'm already taking pretty long as it is, and I apologize for that. I hope to find the balance between street level detailing, digestible episodes, and big picture stuff. With all of that said, let's jump into detailing. I'm always bad at explaining this stuff because I typically just start somewhere and then get carried away. With these low rent buildings right here, I don't want anything extravagant, quite the opposite actually. I want to rough these pavement surfaces up. I want to add in a bunch of people, a bunch of graffiti, and have this kind of be like a shady back alleyway. And with the police station kind of right there, it's like you never expect stuff like this to happen in your backyard. So I think it can be nice. And I do feel a bit bad because it's low rent. Then over here, I just want to either add trees or pull these surfaces in. Doesn't need to be anything too crazy over here. And then for our extra commercial, residential kind of office area, this one will be really simple. I'm just going to add in some trees, some bushes, keep it simple. All right, time to get started. Alright, and that's going to do it for detailing. There was a lot of stuff that I went and did. I really tried to make this part feel a bit more old, a bit more dirty, not as well developed. And while I was working on this area back here, because these are our low rent buildings, which again is unfortunate, I'm sorry, I was thinking maybe there's something else we can do here. And so I kind of set that up. I don't know what I went way too hard with this trailer. I wanted it to feel like it was like destroyed and abandoned. And yeah, something sketchy's going on over here. There's definitely something shady happening in Ashland. Here's a question. What are these guys talking to the police for? Seem like they're all kind of wearing the same uniform. You know, we got a couple crazy people over here. And apparently it's a car wash. Well, I guess, hey, if you want to come here and get your car washed, there you go. This is the place to go. Also, what's up with the garbage trucks? It's kind of interesting. There's one there, one there. I don't know. None of my business, so I'll stay out of it. Yeah, I really like how it came out. It's kind of a difference. I tried to add way more people this time. Way more. I don't know. They really make a difference. Like if you're just looking at this area right here and you see all those people, it changes the way the area feels compared to this. This feels dead. Even like coming over here, it's not like there's a bunch of people, but it does feel like it's a bit alive. Maybe these people are sitting having a conversation. Maybe they're out doing things. Who knows what they're doing? Maybe they're aligned with these guys. And then for the bus station, I really did want to keep it simple. I didn't want to do anything too crazy yet, just because I don't want to overcommit to this area when I don't know what's going to be in this area yet. Pretty small expansion now that I'm looking at it. But again, I want to kind of hone down and try and get some more details in. Other than that, let's do a quick before and after. Well, that is a wrap. I definitely got carried away detailing these two little areas. I thought it would tell a really fun story, or I guess not fun. This is serious. This is a serious story for serious people. I don't know. Anyways, I also don't know why the farming surfaces hate me so much, but I haven't had a single crash since I removed them. And when I had them, I just kept crashing. I really wish I could get them to work. I love them. They're so nice. Either way, really hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun. As always, big shout out to our Patreon members, Ganger, Griffin, and Nicholas Fonseca. If you want to check out Ashland for yourself, or you just want to help support the channel, check out Patreon. And if you haven't already, a like, comment, and subscription really go a long way. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one.